All right, Nicole.
Season 2.
Season 2,
I know.
episode number 1. Can you believe it? We're starting season 2.
I'm excited.
Well, you know, one of the core values of the Lexington Police Department is community partnership.
Of course.
So what a better way to start season 2 than to talk with our
NROs, Neighborhood Resource Officers.
All right, so let's go inside and talk to a couple of our NROs.
All right. Hey, it's Baja Nicole with another episode of Your LexPD. We are here with some neighborhood resource officers, Officer Sherrard and Officer Buchanan. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So you all are neighborhood resource officers.
So the Lexington Police Department has always been committed to partnerships and working with the community and building relationships in the community, going back to the community services days. And now the neighborhood resource officers are actually housed under patrol. So if you can tell us a little bit about your daily routine, some of the things that you do working with the community out in Lexington.
So I have like I said, off-campus area for UK. So part of my day is we deal with kind of complaints in our areas. And so I have a specific area. And one of the complaints when I first started was parking complaints. So I look around for cars that are parked illegally or where they're not supposed to park. I do at the beginning of every semester a lot of information because students come from all over the country and they don't necessarily know what the laws are, where they can park here, the ins and outs. And so I give out information. I talk to a lot of students. I have pamphlets that I hand out, that kind of thing day to day. I also deal with homeless. And so I work more with the homeless and street outreach in the city to try to do kind of placement and see if they'll accept assistance from the city. So sometimes I'll get information from them. And then I also have things that might come up just from patrol does call to call. So we might have a bigger problem that might take more days or more time. And we have a little more time to deal with specific things that happen in different neighborhoods.
So for me, my day starts out just patrolling. There's a lot of area where kids stand outside to meet the bus, so I just make my presence known by driving through those areas. From there, if there's any kind of complaint that I'm working, just any kind of, if patrol get dispatched to a call and I'm in that area or sitting in that area, watching the kids, making sure nothing happens, I typically tend to jump those calls to keep them from having to travel all the way over there, especially with me being in the area. After that, I try to transition to around the high schools and middle schools, just the schools in the area to make sure that there's not anything going on during the morning hours or when they're transitioning to get out of school. But other than that, if there's a complaint or anything that I'm working in any area, that's what I devote the majority of my time to.
So Lexington's a pretty big city. So how are the neighborhood resource officers divided up throughout the whole county?
So for us in East Sector, there's 3 of us, and we don't have a specific area, but we do a great job of partnering with each other to make sure that anytime anything needs to be covered, regardless of whatever time, it could be something in the day or it could be something in the evening, being able to adjust our schedule to meet whatever needs specifically for.
I'm in the West Sector, and so I'm in the UK off-campus area, we have someone in Cardinal Valley area, and then we have someone in the Winburn area. And we each work in those neighborhoods. And then Central Sector has 3 officers that they're in the different areas as well, and they have specific areas that they work. We all work together on Saturdays, so anytime there's a home football game for UK, we work the UK State Street area, and then we just kind of try to prevent things from possibly happening, interact with the students. If there's any time that we need to have kind of intervention or there's a parking complaint or something or a noise complaint, then we can kind of handle it that way. But we all work together. We do things outside of our sectors. So a lot of times in the summertime, we have the copsicles. So I will do things, I have a lot of time in the summertime, and I'll do things in every sector. And so we're not just tied down to our areas, but we do things kind of all over the city if we need to.
Well, I know I attend a lot of neighborhood meetings, and I see you folks out there, and it's very, very beneficial for the neighborhoods to have that resource and that person that they can call and talk to about specific issues. You mentioned copsicles, right? So there's some other things, I know cleanups and copsicles and helping people out some other ways. So what are some other things that the neighborhood resource officers do other than those complaints and calls and assistance?
We try to do some good things. So just yesterday, we worked with the fire department and I believe it's Baptist Health, and they have a turkey program for Thanksgiving. And so we got together with the fire department and the paramedicine group, and we made baskets for families. And so some of the NROs have connections in the neighborhoods with families that might be in need for food. And so yesterday we had 40 baskets that we put together, and then we each took different areas of the city. And so I was able to deliver, I think I did 4 or 5 turkeys. And so we took those out to families that need a little help during the holidays.
That's great.
And they get to enjoy Thanksgiving with their families, and it provides them food for the day.
I think for me, one of the most, I would say, rewarding things for me from being in the unit for my limited time is on Veterans Day, we was able to get a veteran furniture out of storage and help her move into her new home. And we've helped move several people into new homes. And I think Sherrod said it best, is that us as NROs, Neighborhood Resource Officers, do a good job of working together in order to address not just concerns for me in each sector or him in specific sectors, but pooling together resources and coming together with a plan. That there's a family that I have currently that I'm working on things we talked about in our Monday meeting, pulling together resources in order to get them taken care of for Christmas. And so the outreach from different NROs in different sectors is what drives me to being a part of this unit.
And you've done some neighborhood cleanups too, is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, several.
Okay. And what all does that entail?
It takes a lot of connections, takes a lot of coordination with the city. So we have good relationships with them, waste management, there's environmental services. So sometimes people have a complaint or they see something, and we can go into a neighborhood, and because we have those resources and connections with them, we can get them cleaned up pretty quick. I work a lot with bridges, collect a few things every once in a while, and so I had a bridge cleaned up to this week at 2 different times. So one was just a garbage truck to help me out, and then another one I had to call a specific truck to come pick up some trash or things that were left behind. So we do a lot of things in different neighborhoods that way. The veteran, I like to say with him, that came about with one of the people in our unit just happened to come across someone doing his job, and he was just talking to him. And they said that they couldn't get their items and whatever situation that they were in, and that it had a house, a place to live, but nothing there, but it had a storage unit. And that just kind of snowballed with the fire department helping out and us helping out, and then kind of communicating with each other, that all of a sudden we were able to get their things moved. So some things just happen just because we communicate more, just talking with people.
Right. All right, so Nicole, it's more than just the Copsicle program. And by the way, tell us a little bit about the Copsicle program, because everybody sees that van and wants to know what all's involved with that.
Copsicle program started a couple years ago. A guy at our unit saw somewhere else in the country how they were doing Copsicles and kind of using it to interact with kids. And so he kind of pushed our department a little bit a couple years ago and got all the funds. All of them were donated. So everything with the Copsicle program was donated to the van, the Copsicles itself, and we get replenished with Copsicles. We do kind of donations from Copsicles in the community. We reach out to kids and a lot of schools, so it's a lot of school work. So it's just an interaction that we get to have with the children, and they see us in our uniform, and we're doing something good. Because a lot of times the police were involved with something bad. I mean, it could even be you lost something or you're in an accident where nothing necessarily criminal, but it's not necessarily a good thing. So we get to interact with the kids. I do a lot of special needs groups. The city has 3 different kinds of special needs camps. So I'll do Copsicles there because we do have calls for special needs kids, and it's kind of good to interact with them outside of like the police function and hand out Copsicles. So that's a lot of that we do during the summertime.
Nice. When it's warm.
Yes, when it's warm outside.
So what do you both like best about being an NRO?
So for me, there's 2 things I like going to neighborhood meetings. For me, I love going to them because it, for one, gives me the opportunity to introduce myself as a new neighborhood resource officer. But it also gives me some baseline of what's going on within the community, because no one knows what's going on in specific areas than the people from that community. So it gives me an idea of anything that I could do to, for one, assist from a law enforcement standpoint, and also from a resource standpoint, is that they would know someone that needs any kind of resources, then I'll be available to provide those. But also, I love making partnership with Fayette County School Police. I love seeing the kids or playing basketball with the kids and stuff like that, and having those conversations with them and let them know that, hey, this is a uniform and a job that I do, but I also play basketball and I'm a person inside of this uniform. So letting them see that human aspect of policing and building those partnerships for me.
For me, I like helping people, and my kids are in college, so they're kind of out of the house basically, and so I do a lot with the Copsicle program because I just love interacting with the kids and the special needs groups in the summertime, and a lot of people are about hugs, and I'm all about hugs, and it's just, sometimes I know I'm there for them, but sometimes I feel like I'm there for me as well, so I'm like, who's getting the benefit here, because I have such a good time, but I just like dealing with the community and talking with the kids and interacting with them.
Well, that's great. Lexington has all kinds of resources available to help folks, and it's really good that your unit is able to kind of connect people with some of those resources and put it all together. So Lexington Police Department's always been committed to building those relationships out in the community, and we certainly appreciate you for everything you do, all the officers that are in the NRO program, and we appreciate you joining us this month to talk about the program and let people know. How do they get in touch with the NROs if there's a neighborhood that wants to talk to you about a specific problem?
They can call the non-emergency line for the police department, so 859-258-3600, and they can also ask for an NRO, a neighborhood resource officer, or a lot of times if there is a problem, it kind of works its way through the system anyway. So if there is a problem that needs to be dealt with, if it's an emergency, obviously 911, but they can also just call the non-emergency line just to report a problem, and then a lot of times it'll get fed to us through that way. So they don't have to talk to us directly. The Copsicle program, they would actually need to ask somebody for the Copsicle program, and we get kind of busy, and we're getting busier every year that people ask for it. So,
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
It was so good talking with the NROs today. I learned what my favorite Copsicle flavor was. What's yours?
I'm going to go with grape, probably. What about you?
Red or
Really?
fruit punch.
Okay.
Whatever red is.
So, and they do a lot of different things, right, in the community, and it was good to talk to them and all the resources that they bring to the table out in the city of Lexington. Speaking of resources, next month we're going to continue with season 2, and episode 2 we're going to be talking with victims advocates and the way that the police department kind of helps victims associate with different outreaches and different resources that are out there in the community, because after all, that's one of our core values, right? It's community outreach and community partnership.
So join us next month with another episode of Your LexPD, Season 2.